this is about our 4th year now of doing the meetup. So you're probably presenter number 40 by now. So you're in San Francisco right now. What are you doing in San Francisco?
So I'm in San Francisco. I'm going to be speaking at the SP TechCon event this week.
Okay. How many people are attending that event?
It keeps growing. There for a couple of years it was a little lower and stuff, but it keeps growing and growing. We're expecting, I think, anywhere like close around 300-400 people. So.
Okay. All right. Very, very cool. And I believe you've got a couple of sessions you're doing now. Is that correct? Yeah.
So today I'm actually doing a half-day workshop on boosting your company training and knowledge share by utilizing Stream. Then I'm going to do one on governance, and then one on using Microsoft Forms to do user engagement type of things, and then how to properly plan for the Power Platform.
All right, now that's been rebranded with Flow and Power Apps and everything. Yeah. Is it sort of like a bit of a holistic approach to the whole business productivity?
Oh yeah, I mean it's the rebranding, and everybody. One of the biggest, we had a big discussion last night actually, how it bases the Power Automate. So you're actually creating flows in Power Automate. They technically didn't rename Flow, and so there's a lot going on there. It keeps changing pretty rapidly, so it's kind of interesting to try to stay up with, that's for sure.
Okay, very cool. So before we kick off on the presentation, I always ask all the presenters, okay, give us one personal detail about yourself that no one else generally knows about you.
I play a lot of fantasy football. I have anywhere from 4 to 5 teams a year.
Right. Which teams?
Well, I mean, there's so I do like 4 or 5 different leagues, I guess, not really teams. And I always try to, of course, go for Patrick Mahomes as my quarterback because, why not, right? But yeah, I'm very much a player type of person, not so much a root for a team. So.
All right. Very cool. All right then. So on that note, I'll let you kick it off.
All right. Well, good afternoon to you guys. It's still morning over here, being 3 hours behind. As you said, my name is Stacy Deer-Stroll, and I am a Microsoft SharePoint MVP. I own a company called Focal Point Solutions out of Cincinnati, Ohio. And you're more than welcome to reach out on social media. I do a blog and all that kind of fun stuff. I definitely am someone who likes to get feedback from people on any presentation that I do, or if they have questions, just reach out and ask. I'm one of those very flexible, I will respond, so no worries there. So today what we want to talk about, because I'm actually at a big conference, and I was talking to Aaron and them because what do you guys want me to do? And it's like, so being I was going to be at an event, we would kind of talk about how to properly plan for one of these events, because you can go an entire week and you can go to 20-some sessions, but when you leave, how do you remember all that information? And how do you choose the sessions that you go to get the biggest benefit? So I've been thinking about this, and I have a little plan that I do when I go to big events like Ignite and stuff. And so I was just going to share a little bit of that information with you guys to hopefully help you in the future for events. So one of the biggest things is session selection. Unfortunately, even though we're out of high school and college and all that kind of stuff, we all still have homework. You got to do a little bit of homework to get the most out of an event. So when it comes to identifying what sessions you want to attend, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're satisfying the needs to do your job, right? What do you have to go to learn to make sure that you can do your job in the best way possible? And then you have the wants. There's those sessions that maybe you're an admin, but man, you really want to check out, Project Cortex, or you want to go, look at the AI stuff because it's interesting. You find some of those as well. And then one thing I always try to do, and I always try to encourage people at events, is to pick 1 or 2 sessions and step out of your comfort zone. So like I'm a, pretty hardcore admin, do governance and all that kind of stuff. But I will always attend 1 or 2 sessions, say under, in Power Apps or in AI, some scripting, just so I'm expanding the knowledge while I'm there. That's the opportunity to do it. So I always try to step out of a comfort zone. So I would definitely encourage that. And then also really look at your keynote sessions. Some people are like, they're early, so there's lots of people. But the thing is those keynote sessions, you get a lot of information from them. What's coming and all that stuff. So I encourage people to definitely go to the keynote sessions. There's things that come out there that some of the speakers aren't allowed to talk about until they're announced there. So that's a great idea to make sure you're attending those sessions. So session review. So one of the things is you go to the event sites, right? So there are, one for SP TechCon, there's SharePoint Fest, you name it. If there's an event going on, they have a site. And the thing you want to do is first read your titles, so at least you know what you're looking for, but then really look at the descriptions. The thing is with the descriptions, when you're reading those, you really start to get a feel for the speaker. How they present. Is it something that is just very dry? Maybe it's very like, they're just, how do you deal with similar sessions? Just doesn't really grab you. And then you'll find those ones it's like they compare it to something and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I literally have a session where I compare SharePoint to Star Wars, right? So those types of things, it grabs people's attention. So really pay attention to the descriptions. And then you will always run into how do you deal with similar sessions, right? Especially like at an event that I am at, I know for a fact there's like 3 Project Cortex sessions going on, and 2 of them may be very much identical. So then it really comes down to, do you know the speaker? Have you listened to them before? That type of thing. Or what you do is as you're going through and recording which sessions you want to go to is which one actually fits in your schedule. So you identify those types of sessions as well. I actually will sometimes print them out, highlight things, the whole 9 yards. The other thing to look for, especially at very large events like Ignite, there are a lot of sessions that are repeat, like they may give that same session 2 or 3 times. So make sure you're looking for those. They do that so that you can fit these sessions into your schedule, because schedules are the hardest thing. Always plan these things well in advance, and then just kind of identify if anything changes prior to. And all of them typically have apps for your phone as well. So the speakers. So to me, it's all about the speaker. If I know a speaker and I know they're an amazing speaker and they grab my attention, then I'm going to listen to them the entire time, and I'm actually going to retain that information better. Everybody likes different types of speakers and how they present. You've got to find what really grabs you, and then you start to identify those speakers. Now, things I do is, I read on the site. If I don't know them, I read it, who they are, what they do. You have the opportunity, to really kind of see their reputation. You ask anybody about a speaker in this community, someone knows them. So you can say, hey, I'm kind of thinking about this session or this session. What do you think? And, depending if I know the speakers, I can say, well, this speaker does this and that speaker does that. Does that help? So a lot of times it's really, asking questions. Most of the speakers all have blogs. Go check out a couple of their blogs, see if it's, how they're presenting the information is a way that you're going to be able to retain it. And then, of course, you always have social media. What are they doing on Twitter? You can go look at their resume, essentially on LinkedIn, etc. So you do a little research, make sure that you're not only choosing the right sessions, but the speakers that are going to help you retain that information in the way that you like to retain it.
Stacey, a quick question. Is a lot of this with Ignite, I've always find is all recorded. And
Yes.
part of the problem you have with the Ignite is that you've got so many sessions. I find a good tip is that I'll play it timing up like speed and a half. So the 45-minute session is now done in 25 minutes. Of course, the guy sounds a bit like a chipmunk, but the content and the noise and the message is all sort of like gets across.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There are all time, and I'm going to actually talk about some of the things that you can do, just very similar to that. But I'm with you. Many sessions that are 45 minutes, really, if you take out some of you know, not really fluff, but you know, some of the mid conversation, all that stuff, they're not really that long. I definitely do the videos as well. So as you're planning, sometimes you're still going to have questions, especially the big events. There are typically booths where you can talk to conference organizers, and don't hesitate going up and say, I have some questions about some sessions. Is there someone that can help me? The great thing about these conferences is most of the people know that are organizing know the speakers, and they will say, hey, you know, Stacy, can you help this person? And, you know, be able to. I ask, so like if I ever have any of my clients that attend these events, one of the things I do is like, if you need help identifying which sessions to go to, let me know. Day one, we'll sit down and we'll kind of go through, you know, what you guys are doing within your organization and how that, which sessions are going to help you. So ask the speakers. The speakers are more than willing to help you. A lot of people seem to be at some events intimidated because someone's a speaker. Don't feel that way. If you guys knew us, you know, from behind the scenes, we are chatty. We love to network. We love to talk, and especially love to geek out. So don't hesitate asking anybody any questions. They'd be more than glad to help you out. Okay, my thing is not moving now. There we go. All right. So dealing with the content overload. So one of the things that I do is after I have my sessions identified, I go and set up OneNote that matches what I have picked out. Now I'm going to, if I can make sure you guys can see it here. Can you see this? Do I need to reshare?
I see your face at the moment. I just see okay. I see a PowerPoint.
You see a PowerPoint?
Yep.
Hold on. So let me reshare because I want you guys to see this. So you see the OneNote now?
Not yet.
Well, maybe I checked the wrong one.
I see OneNote now, yes.
Oh, do you see one now? Okay. Oh. Okay. So in OneNote, what I do is, as you notice, I have a OneNote called SP TechCon San Francisco, right? And then I identify it by the types of sessions that are going to be there. So keynotes that I'm going to go to, I will set them up. I typically will put, you know, what time it starts, all that kind of information, right? And then I go to the workshops. So like, you know, I have workshops today and there's some others. So the things I do is I identify which workshops I'm going to. And then I kind of always start with this information, things I want to make sure that you know, I'm not going to forget. 1, who is the speaker? 2, all speakers will share contact information. So note that contact information. They're giving it to you to use, so make sure you're recording it in some way. Some people will actually take pictures on their phone, and I have done that as well, and then I just send it into my OneNote so that I have the contact information all in one place. And then the content. And what I mean by that is, where is their content going to be? So all different speakers do it different ways, but a lot of times, you know, we always have to upload our slides to an event. So you can always get the slides there. Now, some of them only, you know, bring it down in PDF. So then if there's links in there, sometimes it's hard to get. We will use OneDrive and put links in there to OneDrive so you can get the content. So like I do a quick wins session, and all the things that I've built and everything to help with quick wins, I give to the attendees. And so I actually will put it up on OneDrive and share a link out to that. Some other things that we do, I do a big admin workshop and a session. Well, the administration panel, there really is no slides. There's no need for it. So I literally record it on stream, and then I upload that stream video to OneNote and I share that out so that they can rewatch and walk through step by step everything that I've done. So I've been doing that more and more, and that's kind of catching on to a lot of different people. So you might also have the videos of your sessions and workshops as well. So just note where the content is, just for a reference. And then what I do is then take workshop notes. So then I start taking notes on things that are said and all that. But then the most important thing is I always try to identify 3 to 5 takeaways from a session. or a workshop, something that just like, wow, that just really hit home, or something that you really want to focus on. Workshop notes are sometimes they're just fast. You're just putting some, something they said, or, a URL they mentioned, but make sure that you're identifying a takeaway. When you go back to review these notes after the event, after you're brain dead from a 5-day event and, 20, 30 sessions, if you go back and you look at those takeaways, that's what's going to remind you what you really heard in that session and what you want to do with that information that you gathered. So I do that for each of my workshops, and essentially I do the same thing for my sessions. So those are pretty much identical, but then I have a tab called Experts. So this is where it's your opportunity to take advantage of what the conferences are offering you. Many of them do an Ask the Experts. They will have people sign up, they will sit at tables, and it tells you, they have a little sign, has their name, it tells you what their specialties are. They do announce that stuff ahead of time. It's on those sites, so definitely check out those sites. And if you're having a problem at work, or you're trying to plan a migration or whatever, this is your opportunity to talk to an expert to see, am I on the right track? Hey, I'm having this issue. Can you help me? It's like free consulting. Take advantage of it. If I go and talk to an expert, typically I don't type while I'm talking to them, but when I'm done, I will go put my notes into here. The other thing is something called office hours. There are a few events that ahead of time on the app, you can actually schedule office hours with a speaker. SharePoint Fest is a big one that does it. And the thing is that you don't get a lot of it. People aren't taking advantage of it. This is your opportunity again to get free training and networking and connections with these speakers. We're there to help you, so try to take advantage of that. And then also during an event, you have a ton of networking type events, like today after the workshops, they have the welcome reception. That is another opportunity for you to talk to speakers, talk to others. Speakers are not the only ones that you're going to gain information from at an event. You're actually going to gain information from other people that you're talking to. We all have different specialties, so in conversations you can learn from everybody. So it's not just the speakers at an event that you're getting the information, but I try to go back before I forget, and I go and write me some notes in my OneNote. And then when I get back home, I have everything organized by workshop, by the information. I got my takeaways, and then I can literally do something with that. If you don't lay this stuff out ahead of time and you're trying to rush during a session and try to figure out the best way to lay things out, typically you get behind or you stop taking notes. So I always try to use my OneNote. And then the great thing is when I get back to the office, I literally can share the information that I've captured with everyone in my organization. So not only have I gained this information, I'm taking it back and helping others as well.
Stacey, I kind of do the same for OneNote. OneNote is obviously, to me, the best note-taking tool out there. Do you ever find it just becomes a massive, almost like a scrapbook of information? It's almost like I feel like you almost need like an SP docket for OneNote, which you put on inventory, and then you can clean stuff out on this. Yeah. I thought that'd be a great GitHub. Is that a problem you're finding where it's just like everything you just can't find it all, and you've got different OneNotes attached to different tenants and everything else?
Yeah, so it does become at times difficult because so I'm with you on that one because being a consultant, I actually have a OneNote for every one of my clients. We use group sites, we use the OneNotes in them so we can sync and all that kind of stuff. But we also do work for partners and they have them on their tenants. So I am 100% with you. They are improving the search. I don't know if you've noticed they've added the additional search bar up here now. So it's getting better so you can easily search, but when you have to switch, they're on different tenants and all that kind of stuff, it does become cumbersome at times. And I'm just not sure. And I'm kind of with you, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to have like an SP docket for for OneNote. That would be a really great idea. But yeah, I have that same issue. So
right. All right. Okay. I'm glad it's not just me.
yeah, I've got a ton of OneNotes, that's for sure. All right, I'm going to switch back over to the slides here. All right. Oh, let me know when you can see those. There we go. All right. All right, so that's how we can kind of organize things to make it better. Now, obtaining the content. So just because you're in a session, remember you can actually get this content sometimes before. Like we actually have to, at this event, I had to upload my slides, you know, like 2 weeks in advance or a week in advance. Not that I can't update them, but they want something that the users can start with. So they always have the presentations available at Ignite, here, you name it. Pictures, like I said, if you find, you know, if you want to take a picture of a certain slide because that's one of your takeaways, you can totally do that in a session. Stream videos, live event videos. Ignite does records pretty much every session there. I probably, when I attended Ignite, I stayed rather busy. I literally watch more videos than I actually do attend sessions. And also then like scripts or content, like I said, you know, I do a session where I give away a bunch of free stuff. I give a corporate directory, scripts to do this and that, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not the only speaker that does that. A lot of speakers do that. They will tell you where you can get your content. Make sure you're going out there and getting it. You know, they are taking the time. They're like, they want to help you succeed. And we all know that events can be very tiring, and there's a lot of content you're trying to obtain, and this is why we do those things so that you can kind of stay up with that. So please take advantage of that stuff. All right, so some upcoming events that you guys can start to plan for, and you know, put all these pieces and parts that that I have put together for you. What you can do is start, you know, I'm at SP TechCon San Francisco. Unless you're here and already signed up, probably not going to be ready for that one. But right?
Starts in 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. SharePoint Fest DC is in April 13th through the 17th. That one is one of them. They do a lot of Ask the Experts. They even do live podcasts when we're there. A lot of sessions. There's various of them are recorded. A lot of people are doing the whole stream thing. So lots of content. They are the ones that they do office hours there. So big event there for networking. That is definitely sure. North American Collaboration Summit is Branson, Missouri on April 2nd and 3rd. A lot of great speakers are there. Again, they do a lot of networking as well. SharePoint conference out in Vegas over my birthday, yay, right? May 19th through the 21st. So if you're there, you can buy me a birthday cake, right? So that'll be a great event. Again, a lot of people, Microsoft, backs that one. There's a ton of speakers. They're doing workshops. They're doing some Ask the Expert type of things and a ton of networking, as you can imagine. And SP TechCon Myrtle Beach. So this same event that I'm at right now, in September, they're going to do it, but it's in Myrtle Beach, and it's at some sort of a spa resort. So I'm pretty sure now I'm going to see everybody there, right? So that'll be a really great event. I'm pretty excited about that. And then, of course, we've got Ignite in New Orleans this year, September 21st through 25th. That is the one because of the significance and how huge it is. That is one you definitely want to make sure you're planning accordingly, but also remember you got all the content via video and everything there. They do labs, like you can do hands-on labs there. You can take your certifications. There's all kinds of community events. They actually have a whole community section. And it's very personal, one-on-one time you can get with the speakers and everything. So if you've never attended Ignite, yes, it's big. It's a lot of walking. So you definitely get your exercise. but a lot of great things, for the users there. And then there is Live 360. It's always down in Orlando. This is one where they have like different tracks, between a dev, and it's not all SharePoint related. They have one track that is SharePoint, and then they have like Visual Studio and all these different things. So definitely one of those that you could step out of your comfort zone. But that's November 15th through the 20th. So a lot of great events out there that you can start to plan for.
So isn't there like, which one would you say is the most technical?
The most technical. So Ignite's a lot more salesy. This is what's new kind of stuff. For technical, I think you're probably looking at most technical SharePoint Fest. And like the SharePoint Fest and SP TechCons get pretty technical. A lot of the others kind of stay very high level. I feel like, at Ignite, you get some technical, but they're really just showing you new features and just kind of going through it. SharePoint Conference is pretty technical as well, but I would say that SP TechCon and SharePoint Fest would be my top ones for technical.
Because there was one which a few people, MVPs, went to. It was like the it was the enterprise business application.
Mm-hmm.
I think, have I said that correctly?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I'm assuming that's basically the whole Office 365 Power Apps. It's a Power Apps platform. How to do that basically.
Yeah. Yep. So there was also the Power Platform World Tour. So that was in different locations, and that was pretty technical when it came to anything about Flow, Power Apps, and Power BI. I actually was asked to put a presentation together, which I'm actually doing here, is how to plan to implement those things correctly. And they're like, they needed something like that because everything else was so technical. So anything that's real specialized per, like the Power Platform or, business apps or whatever are going to be very technical as well. And you'll find very few sessions like the one they asked me to do about, making sure you're doing it right or governance or anything like that. They stay pretty technical.
All right, cool.
And I've actually only listed events here in North America, but you also have like the European Collaboration Summit, and there's a couple others, big ones over there, right? But yeah, so if you guys attend any of these events, feel free to stop by and ask me any questions or just say hi. All right, any questions? Oops, my slides are going. There we go. Do we have any questions?
Here's a question for you. Someone actually emailed me the question. Actually, I don't know why they're emailing me rather than going through the chat, but that's fine. The SharePoint Saturdays. You didn't mention the SharePoint Saturday. Is that just because that's what goes without saying? Like attend a SharePoint Saturday in your neighborhood.
Right. Yeah. So SharePoint Saturdays, they're very. I attend them, I speak at them. The same thing goes true for them, but you always want to look for your local because there's so many out there. You can go to spsevents.org and you can see the list of those. I just finished one in Utah a couple weekends ago. It was a great event, great backdrop of all the mountains too. But those are, really good, for when you're looking at local ones to attend, to also make great networking connections, because you can always meet up with that person, the next day or a week or a month down the road. Those are really great because, like I said, you learn from everybody. So you definitely, you get a lot of interaction and one-on-one stuff at those type of events. So
in New England, there's a Teams Thursday.
Yeah,
okay, which I thought was interesting. Is that exactly the same? Is that going to be popping up across the country with team, or is this like they're testing the water to see? Yeah,
it's really testing the water because there's been so like when I was in Utah, the event was actually on Friday. So they've been renaming the SharePoint Saturday events because of the fact that, it's not just SharePoint anymore.
It's a broader technology stack.
Right. Yeah. So they're going with like Office, M365 and all this stuff. So during the rebrand, some people were trying out Fridays. The SPS events committee has decided to allow and start promoting the ones on Fridays. And the reason is you can kind of get more people to attend on a Friday because they get free training, plus you get a day off work, right? So they are testing the waters with that and the Teams Thursday. Kind of interested to see how that works out. And there's also it's just around Teams. It's the first one, global Teams conference. Literally all about Teams. And I think that's kind of a testing the water to see how many people that can get at events just around Teams and everything that Teams is Teams does. Teams is almost when you sit there and you look at SharePoint and all the different things between development and governance and adoption and all those things around that, you're almost seeing that same thing happen with Teams. So it's like it's not just that one single thing like forms or stream. It's like Teams does all these different things, and so it's becoming very big on its own. So I think my personal opinion is they're going to get a lot of people because Teams is going to be one of those, what niche do you have in Teams? Are you someone who does live events? Are you someone who's like focused on channels or shifts or whatever? There's just so many different areas in Teams now, and it just keeps growing. So I do see more of that.
Okay, what's the deal with Sway these days?
So if I had to be honest, I saw a picture the other day and it says, and I'm pretty sure it was Christian Buckley that posted it. It talked about apps that are no longer, utilized or dead in the water kind of thing, and Sway was one of them. So I just don't see. I mean, I've yet to run into a client that actually utilizes it, and I have to say I don't use it either. So I don't really see it being utilized. I see it going away. That's what I see.
Right. Yeah. No. That's what. It's always good to sort of see what you're witnessing and what I'm witnessing. I agree with you. I yet to see anybody be persuaded to be using Sway.
Yeah.
On that, I would definitely say that. And Planner, I'm seeing a little bit more traction with Planner. Not a ton, but I do come across that a bit more.
So I actually do. So I literally organize and manage all of my projects using Planner. And so I actually do a session where I help people set up. It's like, I think it's a half-day workshop and a session, but how to set up a group site with attaching plans in them. One of the biggest questions when first time I did this session was, well, I wish we could do templates in a Planner. That would make it easy instead of redoing them. Guess what? You can actually create templates. You got to be a little creative and think outside the box sometimes. But if you're doing project management, you should probably have a PMO planner site, right? And then there you can create all your tasks, all your cards, and then you just have to copy them to the other plans as you need them. So there are ways to do things that people want to do, and that's why coming to these events you can find out that type of information. But Planner is becoming bigger and bigger, especially with the fact that eventually in the roadmap that you're going to be able to connect to project. So I see Planner getting bigger as time goes on.
So, but wait a minute, isn't Planner competing with project? Or there's definitely an overlap here.
So there is a slight overlap. There is a slight overlap, but some people just don't need everything that Project Online has, right? And plus, again, there's an additional cost for that as well, sure. Especially if you're doing portfolio management. It's one of those you have to decide, do we need these additional things, yes or no? But then sometimes, it'd be nice inside of a site to pull some information from Project, say like the PMO handles it, but share some information into SharePoint so you can display it. And that's kind of what we're going to see a little bit with Planner, I think, is they're going to allow certain things to come over, but not everything. But just have a connection there. I don't see them like hardcore competing because Planner has its place and Project Online has its place. There's a lot of functionality in Project Online, and if you need it, it's great, but otherwise you have Planner, and it works pretty well. Like I said, we manage all of our projects with it, and it's easy and simple, and the team loves it.
Right. Have you? Because one of the things which I feel like would be better with Planner, like if I send you a task notification, you have to actually click on the link and open up the thing. You have to be online. Okay. So I quite like it if you can send me a task. I can hit in my email. I can hit reply in an email thread, and it captures the entire thread of the discussion. Okay.
Yeah. So like if I schedule a task with somebody and you can put it in the notes, that's the one thing I like. So if I put a note in there and I send it, they get an email, they can reply. They don't have to go into Planner. They can just reply to that email and it goes straight into the notes. So that will
capture all the notes now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So it's really great. So you don't have to go into Planner. The other thing is to bring all these things together. So when you start using Planner and you're getting tasks there, and you have SharePoint SharePoint tasks, but in your Outlook you'll have tasks, and maybe you flag emails, right? Okay. To do actually brings some of this stuff together. So if you have you can say, do you want to bring in your Planner? So you hit that and all your Planner tasks come in, and it separates the due dates and all that kind of stuff. And then you can say you want your email, and then you can also do Wunderlist if you have that, and you can view all that information in the to-do, and you don't have to go to Planner.
Hang on, isn't to-do Wunderlist? Microsoft bought Wunderlist, and I think it morphed into to-do.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So of course, the look and feel is completely different. It's all Microsoft-y now, right? But you can actually, it just provides you the way to import that stuff in. Yep. So yeah, I live and die in my to-do just because, I have a lot of different things, and it just brings it all together.
Right. Okay. So I didn't realize that with Planner, if you assign me a task, I can hit reply, and it will get that email thread. It will reply back. So we can see the whole chain of the email thread related to that task. Is that new, or has that always been there?
So anytime I've put in a note and hit send, I've been using it now. I've been using Planner for well over a year or so, and that's always worked for me. So
I will do that. I will do that after this call. Okay. All right. There's no more questions coming in. So what time is your next session, Stacey?
So my session is it's 1:30 here, so it'd be 4:30 your guys' time.
Right. Okay. So thank you for your time. And if you send Aaron the PowerPoint, we'll get that up and running. We'll push that across with links to your blog so people can hit you up for questions and Q&A.
Absolutely. I'll send that to Aaron as soon as we're done. Okay,
perfect. Enjoy your stay in San Francisco.
Oh, thank you very much. And thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Pleasure. Good attendance today as well. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye.